Bim, guess what? It's just gone 10 o'clock on a Sunday, and it's the 7th of September already. And yeah, it's time for the weekly news review opinions roundup thing, where I basically talk about the news and opinions and roundup of things that's going on around the world, news and funny bits and various other bits and pieces as well. I basically categorise it into various sections. You are more than entitled to comment, agree, disagree, like, share, subscribe, whatever. If you listen to this on the podcast, you'd have to go into the comments. If you're watching this live, then feel free to join in the chat. You'll get a shout out at the end of said chat and said broadcast. Hi T, hope you're good. Just had some curry chicken wings. Probably not the best thing to do when you're about to do quite a long monologue. Oh God. So yeah. People are not getting notifications anymore, possibly because I don't like Keir Starmer. Maybe he's got something to do with it. Who knows? Well, Keir Starmer, I suppose, but anyway. Let's not worry about that, shall we? So what's going on this week in the news? Well, there's a lot of stuff that's going on this week in the news. I want to say a lot of stuff. I mean, not a lot of stuff, to be honest with you. It's all a bit of a disappointment. Just people having horrific times in life, which is basically what we're all doing at the minute, I suppose, if you think about it like that. Excuse me a second, I want to just sort this out. There we go. So yeah, the week's news. Again, like I say, don't forget to join in the chat, share, like, comment. It's entirely up to you. Or just watch and go, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Or, hey, this guy's a genius, he should be the Prime Minister. Well, maybe not that one, because you don't want me as Prime Minister. You think Starmer's bad? My word. Yeah, that would be bad. Anyway, Urban Blonde, good evening to you too. Hope you're well. Get a few regulars popping in. Amazingly, though we're doing this all year, some people forget I do it. So they don't come on till late, and then they say, oh, sorry, I'm late. I didn't realise you were doing it. Anyway, Monday, the 2nd of September 2024. Netanyahu asked for forgiveness after he failed to get 6 hostages back alive. The UK government, the new Labour government, suspends 30 of 350 arms export certificates due to the fact that they think that some of these weapons may be used to kill innocent people. There's may about it, is there? Yeah. And it's not an arms embargo either, which it should be, let's be honest. Hello Lainey, hope you're good. Meanwhile, a 12-year-old sentencing was postponed as their mother had gone to Ibiza on holiday. The judge was less than impressed. This is a 12-year-old who's being sentenced for joining in the riots from earlier on in the summer. The swift justice that we're getting off Keir Starmer. Unless, of course, you're a rapist, murderer, paedophile, in which case your trial just gets put on hold until they can be bothered doing it. But, hurl abuse at someone, chuck a brick or whatever, and you're in prison for 2-3 years. Yeah. Stalinism. German Chancellor urges other parties not to work with the far right. And the BBC on True Form, my words, say it's dangerous to work with the far right. The BBC heavily criticised later on in the week for being biased. Who knew? Tuesday, the 3rd of September. Small boat capsizes, 12 dead, including children, and a pregnant woman. Over 50 were rescued. This was on the coast of France. A 14-year-old boy is in custody after an 80-year-old man was killed in a park whilst taking his dog for a walk. He died a few days after the attack. 5 children were arrested, but 4 were released with no further action. Over 50 killed in Russian strike in Ukraine against a military academy. Hang on a minute. Is this? Yeah, this is right. This is this week, isn't it? Just feels like this was a while ago, but no, it's this week. Is this week gone slow then, or am I just super intelligent? Huge spending cuts in Scotland. The SNP blame the government, but the experts say it's their choices for years that have ended up with a shortfall. Some of their choices being lots of exciting... Is that one I should be on, to be fair? Oh no, it's right. I should be on that one. Lots of exciting stuff such as free school meals for kids and all that kind of thing, all of which costs money. Well, who knew? Benjamin Netanyahu strongly attacks the UK government over the suspension of some of the weapon certificates. Like, who cares? Andrew Eberson, good evening to you too. Wednesday the 4th of September, Grenfell Fire Tower report says incompetence, greed and corruption and negligence at all levels that cost 72 lives, and it was all avoidable if people had just actually been honest about what was going on prior to the fire. But even the fire service were called into question as well. Whether it changes anything for anyone, I don't know, but it's 7 years on. No one's been prosecuted yet. There's obviously prosecutions in the pipeline, because how can there not be? But we'll have to wait and see. A 14-year-old charged with the murder of 80-year-old dog walker after he died from neck injuries. Keir, well, he's turning into a parrot, isn't he? It's a bit like one of them, you know, them dolls that you get with a string on it, and you pull the string out the back of it and it says, "I love you, you're my best friend," and all that, and it just goes on a complete recycle. Yeah. I watched PMQs, see whether Russia had actually grown a pair over the summer, and you know what, it did alright. Now, in the PMQs and the general election, Keir Starmer has been known to say, decisions we take are because of the £22 billion black hole left by the previous government. Change. My father was a toolmaker. The past 14 years. Actions, not slogans. Fix the mess they left. Inherited broken economy. Review what spending review what spending we can do, and we'll report back when we can, even though they said they're going to sort it all out overnight. And this is a government of service. Never heard so much bullshit in my life. But anyway, that's our new Prime Minister. More of him later. Meanwhile, Thursday the 5th, crisis as number of spaces in the men's jails goes to less than 500. Estonia could be... what's going on here? Oh no, don't tell me I'm live on YouTube. I'll be disappointed. Yeah, I'm live on YouTube. Tell your friends, tell everyone. My phone's just informed me I'm live on YouTube. Kind of new, because I'm live on YouTube. The big solution is, bearing in mind that Keir Starmer on day one scrapped the Rwanda scheme for sending illegal immigrants to Rwanda to be processed, which to be fair was a load of bull. But we could now be sending our prisoners to Estonia. So are these like British people who were protesting about Britain being overrun by people and two-tier Keir and two-tier laws? So are the British people now going to be sent to prisons in Estonia? Because I can imagine they want murderers, rapists, paedophiles and stuff like that in Estonia. So it's going to be people who said something naughty on Facebook, or someone who held a placard at a protest who are going to be sent to Estonia, rather than the real issue, which is the number of illegal migrants, and just migrants in general, who are being allowed into the country. it beggars belief, doesn't it? Meanwhile, Germany is considering the Rwanda deal for their migrants. So it wasn't good enough for our migrants, but Germany are thinking, well, it's all in place now. England have walked away from it, Britain's walked away from it, why don't we do it? Insane, but there you go, that's where we're at. Water bosses could face 2 years in jail over various problems that they've got, including letting sewage out, and I think that is correct. Although, as I've said many times before, we need to actually just renationalise the water companies for free. They've made enough money from it. We don't need to pay them any money. RAF helicopter crashes into the channel. Sadly, one person is declared dead at the scene. September the 6th, which is a Friday. Longest sentence is given out. 9 years for an arsonist attack on the hotel in, was it Leicestershire? Rotherham. And also attacking the police as well. A guy's got 9 years for that, which I don't really have a problem with, because setting fire to a hotel where people are inside it, or setting fire to any building, is a big no-no. But again, there are people who've done more serious crimes, considered more serious crimes, who are still waiting trial and still walking around free. Although some people are in remand, which also adds to the delay, because some of these people who are in remand, not in demand, may not actually be guilty, and they may end up being released from that prison, therefore freeing spaces up. But we're going to hold them there because we're chucking more people in prison for upsetting Keir Starmer. Oh, Keir Starmer. Mass grave of stillborn babies, with 273 in one mass grave in Royton in near Oldham. And there are a few adults as well. Now it's unsure as to what is going on there, whether or not it's the NHS back in the 50s, 60s and 70s just disposing of stillborns, or whether it's more sinister than that. We don't know, but investigations are continuing. Saturday the 7th of September, the Prime Minister says the NHS has been broken by the Tories. Report is to come out on Tuesday, and he also met the island's Prime Minister, Simon Harris, to reset relations with Ireland as well as the EU, which is ironic because aren't we meant to be moving them further away from the EU rather than jumping back? Oh no, Keir Starmer is a Remainer, isn't he? So he's trying to get us back in again through the back door, because that's what the people voted for. More people voted for Brexit than voted for Labour. I mean, considerably more. New UK footy manager refuses to sing the national anthem. Now, I must admit, I will not sing the national anthem, full stop. Not because I don't agree that we should show support for our country and the national anthem all over the world for whichever country is their support. 100% agree with that. It's just that I can't sing. So therefore, I would mime the national anthem rather than sing it. So, you know. Like that, you see. And I managed to say king as well. It took me a while. Well, I didn't actually manage not to say king. But yeah, you can mime it. So just get back in your box, mate. Or better still, get a job where you don't have to sing the national anthem every time you do your job. Sunday the 8th, which is today. It's a brave new world. Today. Talk, fantastic song. Keir Starmer defends the undefensible, which is basically taking away the pensioners' winter fuel allowance. He's been in it, and he says it will improve the economy. Yeah, 1.6 billion is the maximum it will save, whereas he spent how many billion giving people pay rises that the previous Tory government said you couldn't do because we haven't got the money to do that. So who's right, who's wrong? Well, Labour are wrong. And the Tories are wrong as well, let's be honest, they're all crap. The MPs will vote on it next week. Now, Keir was asked in an interview with Laura Kuenssberg whether or not anyone in the Labour Party who votes against this next week will be suspended from the whip like some people were voted against Keir Starmer's policies earlier on. In fact, a couple of weeks in, we reported on it at the time. He refused to answer that, saying it's not up to him, it's up to the chief whip. But basically, he's the leader, so it's up to him. So yeah, he will. Keir Starmer is a wannabe dictator. You're not allowed to have any free speech or anything, even if you're in the own party. Even if you're in the party, even if you pay your money to the party that pays his wage, you're still not allowed to have a disagreement with him. This guy is an absolute freak, and I've said that from day one. I've not changed my opinion on him. I've always said that he's the most dangerous man in Britain, and certainly will be when he gets into power. Things are all going to get worse. He's already told us that. I mean, it's not like he's lying to us anymore. Anyway, let's not worry too much about that. Well, let's worry about that. Concerns for over 700 children treated at Great Ormond Street Hospital by one doctor/stroke consultant. Many children who've been treated by him have suffered severe complications, some of which are life-changing, including loss of limbs, permanent disability, etc. And you're thinking, yeah, that's horrendous, horrific. But over 700 children? Wasn't anyone paying any attention to what was going on? I mean, Lucy Letby may or may not be guilty. Yeah, probably is. And that was only, I say only, but, less than 20 children that she was involved with. 700? Now, Great Ormond Street Hospital has had some bad press recently for various different things. But, I mean, this, possibly, if true, could be one of the worst NHS things in our time. I can't even describe how horrendous that would be. If your child goes there, you think you're going to a world-renowned hospital for children, and then over 700 may have been severely mistreated or misdiagnosed or misoperated on by one person, and no one picked up on it. Anyway, the BBC, it's been announced, breached guidelines over 1,500 times only during the Israel-Hamas war. Yeah, you've got to think, the BBC, are they fit for purpose anymore? Well, no, they're not, but will anything change? Well, no, obviously, because nothing does. It's the BBC. They've got a mind of their own. Which brings us on to the news that makes you go, Not so much this week, to be fair. It's been a bit quiet on the old newsy thing. I need to get rid of, here we go, get rid of that, and then I can do it this way. There we go. I'm editing this while I'm doing it. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? How much stuff I'm actually doing whilst talking to you people. What is wrong with me? I need to get myself a proper job, don't I? I need to do something that's, a proper job, not this nonsense of talking about the news whilst editing it, reading it, and also finding pictures. So let's look at a pretty picture of an otter. Aww. Oh, look at that, it's a little otter. It's actually that little because it's quite a big picture. But yeah, this otter is just an idea of what we should be doing. Furry animals must be free to save the world, battling killer floods and famine. It's not an otter, it's a beaver. I do apologise. I apologise to all otters out there. I misgendered it. Well, I didn't misgender it. Well, it might, I said it, didn't I? It might even be in it. Identify something else, I don't know, like a stone or something. Anyway, Rob Stoneman, Director of Landscape Recovery at the Wildlife Trust, says the benefits of beavers of wildlife knowledge are well evidenced, but the reintroduction of the species has stalled. I know a lot of people like to see beavers, and I must admit they do a lot for nature. When they make their dams, it slows down the water course, which means if it rains on the moors or the hills prior to the dam, which is where most rivers and streams originate from, then the water is held back by the dams and therefore is less likely to flood further down. And it's totally natural Beavers have been doing this for millennia. So it does seem ridiculous that we are not introducing them. It also helps other species as well. Also helps trees and plants in the area because it keeps the tree cap free, so plants on the ground have a better chance of growing, which encourages diversity and insects and everything else. I've also noticed as well and seen on various programs that a lot of watercourses that were streamlined to go straight through fields and things like that are now being made to meander like they should do, which again slows down the amount of water that's flowing down into populated areas, which is why we get floods, etc. in places like York and other low-lying areas. Meanwhile, in Wigan last weekend, traffic was diverted after a double-decker V1 bus and a taxi collided at the junction of Lord Street and Princess Street in Lee late on Sunday. There are no reports of casualties at the time. And yeah, basically, from what I hear, the taxi just pulled out into the bus. Taxi, of course, taxi drivers are referred to as professional drivers because that's what they do. Although, more often than not, if you watch my live streams when I drive to and from my mother's on a Tuesday, talking of which, mother's still in hospital, hopefully home tomorrow or Tuesday, they are not professional by any stretch of the imagination. Number of times you get cut up by them, number of times they either are just driving like loonies or driving like Miss Daisy. It's just unbelievable. So let's light the Lord by a bit of spinach. No one likes spinach more than I do. Well, most people like spinach more than I do, to be fair, because I don't actually like spinach. But I do like that. It's a Popeye and his graffiti, and someone has cleverly used a massive bush-like tree to make it look like he's squeezing spinach out of his can of spinach. They've even put some bricks so they can extend his hat over the lip of the concrete wall. And then you've got the baby, I think it's his son or daughter or whatever, with a smaller can, and there's a smaller bush there, being the spinach out of that. Genius. We'll have a bit of Banksy later, don't worry. Electric Amazon delivery vans keep burning down, and the chargers are suspected. Amazon Rivian electric delivery vans are catching fire and the chargers might be to blame. Recent footage from Houston shows Rivian vans burning outside an Amazon centre, all parked at chargers when the fire started. There have been numerous electric vehicle fires, and how many fires do we get in houses which are started by charging of e-scooters, electric bikes and those skateboard things, which are not skateboards, hoverboards, which are not hoverboards, they've got wheels, but they call them hoverboards. Yeah, charging is the most dangerous time for electric vehicles. The problem is you have to charge them up all the fucking time, because they're fucking electric. It's not the future, folks. We're going to need a bigger shark. I don't agree necessarily with this, but I can see where they're coming from. Israel, mass protests erupted in Israel and continuing as well, calling on the government to reach a ceasefire deal with Hamas to bring the remaining captives home after 6 more hostages were found dead in Gaza. It's what happens to it's what appears to be the largest demonstration in 11 months of war. People said it felt like a possible turning point. The country still remains deeply divided. I mean, that is a striking image if ever I've seen one. Netanyahu won't pay any attention to it though, because he enjoys, you know, killing people, basically. And there's no buts or wherefore. He does, as I've said many times before. Yeah, people say, well, in World War II, we carpet bombed Berlin and Hamburg and Bonn and all them places. The Germans carpet bombed France, London, Manchester, Liverpool, Hull, and everywhere else. That was the technology we had at the time. If you watch attacks nowadays from the British and American armies, they are targeted strikes on pretty much individual vehicles, etc. And Israel has got the opportunity to do that, as they proved a few months ago when they targeted 3 cars carrying aid workers for an hour and a half over 7 miles and destroyed all 3 vehicles without any damage to anything else. So what it's really doing, for me, is ethnic cleansing and war crimes. You're allowed to have your own opinion. Don't get me wrong, what Hamas did is reprehensible and they need to be wiped off the face of the planet, but not the way Israelis doing it. Meanwhile, as I mentioned already, Keir Starmer's been going on and banging on about the economy that was left, and it's the worst economy ever. So the Tories have put up this chart. Again, pinch of salt required. Conservatives, Keir Starmer says we gave him the worst possible inheritance, we being the Conservatives. Unemployment, this is in 2010. Labour left government with 8% unemployment, the Conservatives left with 4.4%. The economy, according to the Tories in 2010, was the lowest growth in the G7. It was the fastest growth in the G7 in 2024. Inflation, now this is a bit of a dodgy one, but it was 3.4% when the Labour left in 2010, and it was 2% in 2024. Just hadn't been 2% for that long. So a bit of a truckload of salt on that one. The budget deficit, which is why we had all the problems we had with the money and all that kind of stuff. 2010 was 10.3%, and this time it was 4.4%. People who defend Labour at the moment should really give their heads a wobble. I mean, what Labour are doing at the minute is basically the murdering, future murdering pensioners. Pensioners will die because they are terrified of turning the heating on. They promised that the heating will not, that electricity and gas will not go up under there. They would freeze it. There's even comments of Keir Starmer saying that it's going up 10% on the end of October. They've took the heating allowance off. I mean, some people don't need it. It should be an opt-out option maybe for it, rather than just cutting it from people. But of course, these old-age pensioners who may freeze to death, well, if they die, they won't be able to vote Labour or Conservative in the next election anyway. And a lot of them are that old, this is probably what Labour are thinking, that it doesn't really matter anyway, because they'll be dead before the next general election. So why not screw them first, and then we'll see what we can do with everyone else. Labour are, trust me, going to be the worst government we've ever had. They will get rid of Keir Starmer fairly quick. But yeah, absolutely shocking what they are doing. Don't get me wrong, I've slagged the Tories off when they were in government. If you watch this show regularly, you know I've done that. But my God, Labour, absolute... Oh, it makes my blood boil what they're doing at the minute. And they've only been in for not even 100 days yet. Absolute. And people, there aren't many people who defend them. Most people I speak to who come into the shop, in fact everyone who said they voted Labour, regret voting Labour. Most people I speak to in the shop voted Reform. Yeah, not many, I don't know anyone who voted Tory, apart from people who are obviously in the Tory party. But yeah, anyone who thinks Labour is going to be a good government, yeah, come back and have a chat with me. And well, I did say when they got in government after the general election, I said that I'd give Labour 6 months before they screwed it up. They did it in 6 weeks. They've got a really low opinion rating. They got 1 million less votes than they did in the last general election, where they were totally wiped out and no longer a party to be spoken of. And now they think they can just do what they want. They've got this vote coming up on the removal of the heating allowance. But if any members of the Labour Party vote against it, pretty much like the Labour Council, you will be stripped of your Labour membership. Keir Starmer did not say that would not happen. He said it's up to the whip. They've already done it with 2 or 3 people in the Labour Party who voted against them. This is a dictatorship. Get used to it. Anyway, back in Australia, cashless, don't even get me started on cashless. Oh, you have already. This company, Gloria Jeans, never heard of them. They are trialling cashless payments in some of its Australian shops, with the company confirming it will no longer accept cash from later this month, which is all well and good. The only problem with that is, if they have a computer outage, or if the computer system goes down, they won't be able to make any money because no one will be able to pay anything. If the banks decide that we don't need, bear in mind we're shutting banks down all over the place, left, right and centre in the UK and all over the world, to go online, still getting charged banking charges though, even though they don't have the expense of buildings anymore or employees, it's all done by computer. It's just making them more money. But they've also got total control on us as well. So if you think about it, if in the future, in 10, 15, 20 years time, you're on benefits, for example, and there's no cash anymore, it's a cashless society we live in, then the benefits people will be able to say, you can no longer shop at this, this and this. You can only spend your money on your gas, your electric, your rent, your council tax, and any essentials. So you might be able to go to a shoe shop and buy shoes for the kids, but you cannot go out clubbing at the weekend. Mind you, he's trying to get rid of the clubs and pubs anyway, isn't he, Keir Starmer, by stopping this smoking outside. I'm not a smoker. I hate people who vape more than I hate smokers. But I believe that it's a human right that if you are a smoker or a vapor, as long as you're outside, you're allowed to do it. It's your health you're damaging, no one else's. But no, if Keir Starmer gets his way, all the pubs will get shut down, because a lot shut down after the smoking ban inside pubs, which I did agree with, because that's a different kettle of fish completely. We are going to have a state where everyone will be stuck at home. You won't be able to go out clubbing, you won't be able to go to the pub, you won't be able to socialise. And I've said this before, this is part of the controlling part of what the government is doing. World government, not just the UK government. Keir Starmer is pushing it a lot quicker than previous governments, but there you go. Eventually, we won't be allowed to leave our house. They'll brick up our front door, there'll be a little slot in there, they'll just shove food through, and that'll be it. And that's where our grandkids and our great-grandkids are going. You can agree with me, disagree with me, it doesn't really matter. But Keir Starmer is the main person behind this. Any company, as far as I'm concerned, that is cashless, you avoid. You do not go to. Because that is the thin end of the wedge. And as soon as people start accepting a cashless society, then that is when we will go cashless, and that is when they have total control on our spending. They can watch where you're going. For example, if someone comes into my shop and spends 20 quid in my shop, the government, if they're on benefits, a cashless society, the government would know that they've been in my shop and spent 20 quid. They may even question why you spent 20 quid in that shop. What are you buying in there that's essential? The banks know, my bank knows, their bank knows. If you come in and spend 20 quid with cash, only me and the customer know that you've been in there with 20 quid with cash. You're taking away any people watching you. Along with the royals. Yeah, absolutely, Laney. Yeah, don't get me started with the royals. And then you got wokeness, haven't you, as well? And this made me laugh. If Star Wars was filmed in 2024, the famous scene, Luke, I am your father, which I've never seen in the film, I've only ever saw the first film. If Star Wars was filmed in 2024, Luke, I am your father. Make your own thoughts on that one. Meanwhile, I don't follow football, but even I got this joke. Breaking news, a white substance found at Man United training ground. Sky Sports is reporting that Man United training session was delayed for nearly 2 hours after a player reported finding an unknown white powdery substance on the pitch. Training was suspended and the police were called. After a complete analysis, experts determined that the white substance unknown to the players was the goal line. Training resumed after the police decided the team were unlikely to encounter the substance again this season. So basically, Man United apparently are having a bad start to the season, and they don't know what the white line is. I assume they know what the white line is when it's theirs, but they don't know what it is when it's on the other side of the thing. Obviously, it's a spoof thing, but it did make me laugh, even though I don't follow football at all. This next one is from a video, and this is pretty terrifying. If you've ever seen Alien, I just so happen to have an alien here. Let's get rid of that for a minute, click on that. So if you've ever seen Alien, you've got the alien there, and you've got its mouth, and then inside its mouth it's got like the metal bit that comes out, and that's what gets you. Well, there's a fish, apparently, again, I don't know whether this is mocked up, faked up, or whether this is AI or what, but it seems legit. It looks like a very old film. Yeah, Xenomorph. Damien. Hi, Damien. I'm Viva Mark as well, by the way. Sorry, I didn't... Oh, hey up. Oh yeah, that's another thing as well. Council tax, rumoured. Well, let's do this fish first. This fish does that, and its mouth comes out. I mean, that is horrific. It's a dogfish, the viper dogfish, and that looks like a pretty old picture. I am Michael Creeby. Hope you're good as well. Let's go back to... Just stick this one on. This is the thumbnail actually, but it'll do for now. So yeah, Keir Starmer. I've had a rant about Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer, you know he's really dangerous and he's mad and he's OPM. Rumours are that him and Rachel Reeves, at the worst budget we're ever going to have, apparently, things are going to get worse before they get better, is going to get rid of the single discount for... the single council tax discount for people. So if you live on your own, like I do, you're entitled to a 25% discount on your council tax. The reason for that is you're not going to fill the bins up as often. I mean, I put my black bin out. It's every 3 weeks it's emptied here. I might do mine every 6 weeks. It doesn't need doing every week. The other bins are emptied twice a week. Sometimes it can be 2 months before I put them out. So I'm not using the council services as much because I live on my own. If I had people living here, then obviously it would be more, and therefore I'd have to pay the full council tax, which is great. But that's not the reason why it's reduced. The reason why it's reduced is because the majority of households where there's one person living there have got one income coming in. Now that one income could be a wage, could be benefits, whatever, but it's one income. Whereas if you're in a household with multiple people living there, usually a couple, then there's two incomes coming in. Now it's either two wages or it's two lots of benefits or whatever. So you get the discount because you don't have the income coming in. But of course, Keir Starmer doesn't like people who are single, obviously. So he's going to get rid of that because that's another way of screwing people over. Now if you remember, Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer had a right go at him for saying that taxes were going to go up by £2,000 a year under Keir Starmer. No, I think that's an understatement. I think by the end of this budget, because we're already... It's not a tax as such, but he's already letting the fuel rates go up. He's already got rid of £300 for pensioners, and if he gets rid of the council tax, that's probably another average £300+ a year. So we're already on about 700 quid, and that's before they do the tax rises that they're going to have to do, because, well, you know, they haven't got any, they haven't got any money, because, oh God, we didn't know how bad it was, even though you've been telling us for fucking ages that the economy's screwed because of the Tories and their 14 years. They can cough with their council tax grab. Yeah, just don't pay it. Don't quote me on that. Bird flu has spread to Antarctica, according to an alarming study. The deadly H5N1 bird flu strain has reached Antarctica and it's threatening its unique and endangered wildlife, according to an alarming new study. The highly pathogenic strain has swept through the bird populations and other wildlife across the US, Europe and Asia, and has also resulted in some human deaths. Again, I often wonder if things like this are not the planet just kind of resetting itself, like COVID could have been, had it not been man-made, allegedly. But anyway, we'll see. Olympic swimming coach is sacked. This was breaking news at the time. Australian Olympic swimming coach Michael Palfrey has been sacked effective immediately over un-Australian comments at Paris 2024 that made headlines around the world. I mean, you know, Keir Starmer doesn't like it when people are Keir Starmer's unpatriotic. No, sorry, scrap that. Palfrey told South Korean media that he hoped Kim Woo-min would beat Australians Elijah Winnington and Sam Short in the 400-metre freestyle, violating his contract with Swimming Australia. Palfrey was found to have breached his employment contract by bringing himself into disrepute and causing serious damage to his and Swimming Australia's reputation, and adversely affecting Swimming Australia's interest, the governing body of Australian swimming said. Yet meanwhile in the UK, our new England coach for the football doesn't have to sing the English national anthem, or even mime it like I would do, because I can't sing. I feel sorry for anyone stood next to me. Also, when I was at church, I used to mime as well. Mind you, that's because it's all fairy tales and no one gives a flying about hymns. The father of suspect in Georgia shooting, school shooting, is arrested. I don't cover American news particularly much now, but there was a shooting in America where two students and two teachers were shot and killed by a 14-year-old. The 14-year-old was arrested and charged with murder and is being trialled as a man but won't face the death sentence. However, the father, for once, is actually arrested as well, and he's also charged with supplying weapons and ammunition to his son, 14-year-old, and could face a lengthy prison sentence, and rightly so. America, for too long, we've been covering this for a long while, is very lax with its laws when gun laws go wrong. The reason why there's so many shootings in America is because there's so many guns there. How many times have we covered over the years children, toddlers, shooting other toddlers? It's just absolutely shocking. Meanwhile, I read this wrong. Pope Francis touches down. Pope Francis arrived in Papua New Guinea as he continues his 12-day tour. I misread that. Well, I didn't. This is something I used to do when I was a youngster, and you'd see like a board outside the newsagents, and it would have the news headlines on it, because we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have 24-hour news then. So you got your news, you got wrong gun, praise the Lord, yeah, hello, and all that kind of stuff. You got your news from the news headlines from the boards outside, and they were handwritten, and it said, you know, like, train strikes next week or whatever, and it was like breaking news and everything. But sometimes they'd have something really stupid on. So it'd be like, woman finds man in house. And I always say, add on, surprisingly doing the ironing, or washing up, or something else. And this was reminded me of that. So Pope Francis touches down. And I'm like, it's not the full story, is it? So I added on it because I'm a bit, loopy. Pope Francis touches Down syndrome people inappropriately. Yeah, probably best to keep that one to myself, maybe. I don't know. Oh, God, I'm going to have the bloody Catholics after me now. Jesus. Oh, not like it's there, that. Oh, no. Oh, mutiny on the Bounty. I also used to put one of those chocolate bars on my head and say I've got a bounty on my head. That was a joke back then, I probably have now. I'm sick of the LED headlights on some cars. Like, I'm glad you can see 92 miles ahead, but now the rest of us are blind. We all have to feel like that on occasion. Of course, I'm full of controversy, Laney. Banksy Archive, the woman with the pearl earring, but the pearl earring has been replaced by a burglar alarm box. Only real thing is your consciousness. Without the universe doesn't exist. For all intent and purposes, praise Jesus. Shut up, Ronkin. This is Talk TV. The family of a fine young British man murdered by an lying Afghan asylum seeker are furious that senior coroner for Dorset, Rachel Griffin, has ruled there is no need for a full inquest. Home Office deny inquest into asylum seeker vowing... yeah. What is all that about? Oh yeah, it's two-tier Kia, isn't it? Meanwhile, would you get in a Boeing vehicle? Well, no. This time it's the Starliner. Boeing's beleaguered space capsule is heading back to Earth without the two NASA astronauts, who wisely are not getting on it because it malfunctioned on the way there. It's a miracle they got there in the first place. They're going to stay there till February now on the space station. First class stamps, they're going up. More tax, some might say, although technically it's a private company. First class postage was increased to 67p in March 2018, 70p in March 2019, 76p in March 2020, 85p in January 2021, 95p in April 2022, £1.10 in April 2023, and then raised again to £1.25 in October 2023, and in April it went up to £1.35, and in October it's going to go up to £1.65. So it has gone up since March 2018. It has gone up almost an entire pound to send a single first class letter, and that's not one that they weigh, that's just a standard envelope with a single letter in it. And you're like, why? Well, there's a number of reasons for that. Ask yourself this question: when was the last time you posted a first class letter? Yep, you're part of the problem. Me too, to be fair. I can't remember the last time I posted a first class letter. So yeah, but obviously they still have to pay wages, running costs for all the machinery, equipment and everything else. So it kind of makes sense it's going up, but it is going up exponentially. As long as the profits don't go up for the company, I don't really have a problem with it because it doesn't affect me. But it is quite shocking. Donald Trump vows to release alien videos if he's elected president again. Donald Trump's latest efforts to get re-elected include promising to reveal footage from real-life X-Files with the public, even though he says he doesn't believe in aliens. You know what he's going to do though, don't you? He's going to do this alien video when he's in the Oval Office, and he'll just go like that. Like that. Because he's the alien. Hello, Toff. Hello, Earthlings. But yeah, it's quite scary. Flesh-rotting zombie drug used in vapes is to be banned by the government. Is to be banned by the government. Traces of a powerful flesh-eating tranquilizer, which we've covered before, that turns users into zombies, has been found in cocaine and cannabis vapes in the UK, and the government wants to ban the substance. Isn't it already banned? Banned? Ugh, get my teeth in. Coldedate, Top Cat, good evening. I have just played an app game. Good, well done. Something to do with Tom and Jerry. Okay. Twin heat waves to blast UK this month, being September, as temperatures could exceed 30 degrees. A leading British weather forecaster is predicting that Britain could be basked in not one, but two scorching heat waves this September, with the first arriving this week. Well, we've already had that one. Now we've got the torrential downpours and monsoon season. I will leave to do the rest of this. Good night, Coldedate, Top Cat. Hope you're good. But yeah, so we've got another heat wave coming. Yippee-doo. High street giants Boots, Clarks and WH Smith are to close more stores. The UK already battered high street has suffered another series of blows, with 4 major retailers announcing closure of several stores over the course of this month alone. I'm still waiting for the snow they promised us. Yeah, good point. San Marino fans go absolutely wild as Nation wins its first game in 20 years. It's going to San Marino. It's going to San Marino. They've won a game. San Marino fans went wild on Thursday as their national team secured a 1-0 win over Liechtenstein in the Nations League, ending a 20... Liechtenstein. I should have read that bit first. Can you imagine if they beat Germany? Oh my God. Or Spain or something like that. They'd be like, oh, Netherlands, UK, England. Liechtenstein? That's like, I don't know, the kids' team are playing the football pitch near you, beating another kids' team. Vladimir Putin has had his Russian spy whale killed after it defected to Norway. A beluga which was discovered when the equipment of St. Petersburg GoPro camera attached to it was found dead with gunshot wounds in a Norway harbour. So even the whale's been assassinated apparently. by Russia because it defected to Norway. It's a fucking whale. Cause he did. Yeah, exactly. Robots injected into body to perform medical tasks could open up new frontiers. Research has discovered that robotic technology could be used to treat bleeds in the brain caused by aneurysms, which cause around 500,000 deaths globally each year. Right, okay then. So you inject them into your blood, they go in the bloodstream, they find the aneurysm, they sort it out. Then what do? How do you get them out again? You're going to have these battery operated things in your bloodstream forever. Isn't that not more dangerous? A bit like electric cars. Oh, electric cars are the future. Yeah, electric cars are the future. Yeah, how do you get rid of the fucking batteries at the end of the life of the car, which is about 10 to 15 years? They're not the future. This is not the future. Unless you can program them to work their way to the kidney and come out of your pee. But would you want to pee robots? And then would you have to pee in jars? And then would they re-get them and then inject them into someone else? Absolute nonsense. It's more likely a beluga whale defected to Norway. Way pub garden smoking ban would actually work, and if it includes vapes, it should include vapes. I think vapes are worse than cigarettes. A number of public places will be implicated in the smoking ban, but discord has arisen between the health and hospitality sectors, the latter deeming it an unwanted gut punch in an already tough conditions. Yeah, you've got to bear in mind that not only do hospitality have to put up with all these restrictions that are being added, but they've also got wage rises going up, minimum wage, etc., which impacts directly on them. Rising taxes on beer and alcohol, which is coming in the budget, 100% guaranteed. And the rising costs of fuel, i.e. electricity and or gas, which has gone up. There's no cap on gas and electric prices for businesses, which I found out as well, which is not great. So all these costs are going up, and then they're going to say, well, people can't vape or smoke when they're outside of your establishment. Yeah, Keir just wants to shut down hospitality so that we become a nation of non-drinkers. They are taking the pee with the robots. You're not wrong there, T, definitely. Talking of PP, Jermain Gordon sent pics of manhood to woman he begged for bikini snaps. Disgraced ex-PBC pundit Jermain Gordon allegedly sent a woman an unsolicited naked photo of himself alongside a host of flirty WhatsApp messages while working in Qatar during the 2022 World Cup. Now, you don't do stuff like that when you're in Qatar, for a start. I mean, you don't do stuff like that anyway, but in Qatar, of all the places to do it. Bill Gates caused all the virus with Windows that only someone inside knowledge knew how to fix. Injections are like live permission updates. Yeah. And then, finally, inside abandoned $2.2 million pound theme park full of sinister, mysterious predators. That's not one of them. Tourists in Vietnam can venture into a spooky abandoned waterpark paradise, but they may want to watch out for pesky crocodiles lurking amongst the ornate dragon sculptures. So yeah, you can go in there, but you might be eaten by a crocodile. He's married. Yeah, he was married too. He's a very naughty boy. He's not a presenter. He's a naughty boy. Or something like that. Anyway. Going on, it's like, it's not, what are you talking about that way, Anyway, that brings us to the breaking news. So, what's going on there? Oh no, that's not that one. Where's breaking news? I've lost breaking news, folks. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Breaking news. Are you ready? For breaking news. Woo! So what's gone on? Well, I've been going on. Well, the temperature is about to drop apparently. It's also sitting down with rain. Urgent state pension warning as Rachel Reeves eyes up slashing lump sum payments. Don't forget, she doesn't care. The pensioners will be dead before the next general elections. It doesn't matter what you do to the pensioners. Pensioners sign up for double suicide pod instead of waiting for NHS treatments. They're going to Switzerland. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Stop flushing these 12 things down your drain. We're all guilty of accidentally. No, we're not. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Trafford Centre is introduced or has introduced parking fees. One of its big claims was it's free to park there, but the company who runs it have gone bust. So someone else is running it now. Travel chaos as British Airways cancels dozens of flights from London Heathrow because of the thundery weather. Rachel Reeves is to blast yet again the Tory legacy at the Labour conference ahead of painful budgets. They're just going to screw us all over, aren't they? Worst government ever already. The UK's 3.1 billion train line to revolutionise City, if it ever gets built. Doesn't say what city it is, I assume it's London. West Streeting not remotely happy about the vote to cut the winter fuel payments, but he'll still vote for it, because if he doesn't, he won't be health secretary any longer and he'll get kicked out of the Labour Party. This is when democracy is not democracy, and I've been saying this about the Labour Council in Wigan for years. Starmer defends tough decision over controversial winter fuel cuts. 3 Israelis killed by gunmen at West Bank crossing. Children's Hospital launches urgent review with over concerns about previous thingamabobby. Very dangerous prisoner among 5 to escape from high security prison in Portugal. Ooh. Idris Elba joins Sir Keir Starmer in new drive to stop knife crime in London and around the UK. I think Idris Elba's been doing quite well on his own. He doesn't need to get involved with a numbwit like Keir Starmer. You remember when I said before the election, if we want to replicate the lettuce that we had with Liz Truss, all you need to do is get a lettuce and pour water over it, and it's Keir Starmer. No, I got that wrong, didn't I? What you need to do is get a lettuce, put a bomb inside it, or a grenade inside it, and that's Keir Starmer. Problem is the grenade's gone off now. Kendrick Lamar is to headline Super Bowl halftime in 2025. I care because. Body of woman found in water off beach. There's also been a tragic case in Wigan where a 15-year-old boy has drowned in a water area. I think it's Scotsman Flash. The public tried to rescue him and get him out of the water, but sadly he couldn't be revived. So TUC are falling out with the government. Mpox symptoms and how to protect yourself. The government allegedly is picking the pockets of pensioners. No allegedly about it. How to banish fruit flies from your home. My mum had a load of them at one point. Met Office issues urgent flood alerts for 21 UK areas from 9 PM. So heavy rain, etc. It's 2 years since the Queen died. That's gone quick, hasn't it? Royal Mail considers bin collection style website for letter delivery days. I don't understand what that means. Train travellers were told not to travel today. Exact date 24 degrees Azores heat, bomb to hit UK, bringing back summer temperatures. Yeah, we want our breath. Drivers parking in NHS car parks told don't pay due to age limit rule. What? Don't know what that is. Guardian view on winter fuel payments, a mess of Labour's own making over the benefit cuts, which is true. Are we there? Have we done it all? Martin Lewis central heating warning for thousands of households as prices rise. What I do is I leave my central heating on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week during winter. I don't have it on high. It's not like I'm walking around in my boxers or anything, but this is my logic, and you can say yay or nay, but my logic is if I have it on at a set temperature like that, then when it drops a bit, it comes on and it warms it up again, and it drops a bit and it comes on, it warms up again. Whereas if you turn it off, the temperature drops off the scale like that, and then it has to get it back up to temperature, and then it goes on, and then you turn it off and it drops down again, and then you go up again. And I'm like thinking, those drops and up rises, I'm sure they use more electricity and gas than what my steady top-up does. Kind of ripple effect. Plus, I never felt the benefit of having the heating off and then turning it on again until it turned off. So I just flatline it. Well, not flatline it, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Right, I'll catch up with your writing. Andy the Cyclist, good evening. Lady, where should I emigrate to? Serbia. Lviv. Been googling Hungary. As soon as I can, I'm off. Yes, Hungary, one of the other cities. Alwa's going to Hungary, as he always is. Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm a former Soviet country. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm not hungry, actually, because I had my tea before I started this. Anyway, that is that. That is the news this week. So we've got 4 likes, 8 people currently watching. We've had a maximum of 12 fairly recently. We've had 75 views, average of 5.43. Chat rate of 1. Not a lot of chat tonight, to be fair. Big shout out to the people who joined in the chat. Urban Blondes, Laney, Andrew Emerson, Viva Mark, Lania, Damien H, Michael Creeby, Tufts TV, Calderdale Top Cat, Andy the Cyclist. Yeah, that's it. So that's all good, innit? So yeah, thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are, and I'll be seeing you. Until next time. Bye. I knew he was an alien.